Hello everyone, I am Sir David, and in this video I am going to present to you the topic on literature in the K-12 curriculum. First, let us define literature competence. So what is literature competence? Literary competence is an important concept for the teaching of literature in a second language educational context. Why? Because it sets up a clear definition of what the reader must possess in reading a literary work. In the current basic education curriculum, literature is taught mainly as part of language courses, except for explicitly literature-oriented sessions on novels such as The Noli Me Tangere and the El Filibusterismo. Because literature is taught as a particular form of language use, what makes a literary text literary is often ignored. The recent interest around the world in literature has made it clear that literature should be taught as literature and not only as an example of excellent language use. Question: what is the role of literature in the K-12 curriculum? In the K-12 curriculum, the literature competencies or the set of literary competence or skills that learners must acquire are integrated into the grade level standard. So what is grade level standard? Grade level standard or standards define what students should understand and be able to do by the end of each grade level. We can take a quick glance at the learning competencies and standards in the new curriculum to see if literature will finally be given its proper place in the education of our youth. Now let us have the K-12 English Literature Competencies, Kinder to Grade 3. Creative writing is included in the curriculum now used for kindergarten classes. Our children are going to be prepared to appreciate and even to produce literature from day one of their stay in public schools. Songs, poems, and narratives are included among the texts that should be understood and appreciated by elementary school pupils. So here are the competencies as listed in the K-12 Curriculum Guide for English for grades 1 to 3. Number 1, describe literary elements of text including characters, plot which includes specific events, problem and solution, and setting. Number 2, describe characters, example, traits, their roles, similarities within a literary selection. Next, make simple inferences about thoughts and feelings and reasons for actions. And fourth, identify key themes and discuss reasons for events. Now let us proceed to the K-12 English Literature Competencies for Junior High School. To begin, it is stated that Florante at Laura, The Noli Me Tangere, The El Filibusterismo, and some of the novels included in the 1997 canon of Philippine literature are still going to be read in junior high school. When we say junior high school, we are actually referring to grades 7 to 10 as they are now. So here are the competencies as listed in the competencies matrix for grades 7 to 10 for English. Number 1, identify dominant literary devices and figures of speech that add color and heighten meaning in the reading selection. Number 2, use specific cohesive and literary devices to construct basic literary and expository written discourse such as poetry, drama, fables, parables, myths, legends, personal essays, biographies, and vignettes. Number 3, ascertain the features of the reading selection that clarify its adherence to or dismissal of a particular tradition of literary production. And number 4, organize an independent and systematic approach to critiquing a reading selection. Now, The last two competencies, let's go back to the four competencies. So the last two are the third and the fourth competencies. It is stated that the last two competencies assume that literary history, literary theory, and literary criticism will be taught in junior high school. Now let us dig deeper to the specific competencies from grades 7, 8, 9, and 10 or the junior high school. Grade 7, the focus is Philippine literature. And in this grade level, the learners demonstrate communicative competence through his or her understanding of Philippine literature and other text types for a deeper appreciation of Philippine culture. That's for grade 7. For grade 8, the focus is Afro-Asian literature. In this grade level, the learners demonstrate communicative competence through his or her understanding of Afro-Asian literature and other text types for a deeper appreciation of Philippine culture and those of other countries. For grade 9, the focus is Anglo-American literature. For grade 9, the learners demonstrate communicative competence through his or her understanding of British American literature, including Philippine literature and other text types for a deeper appreciation of Philippine culture and those of other countries. And for grade 10, which focuses on world literature, learners demonstrate communicative competence through his or her understanding of literature for a deeper appreciation of world literature, including Philippine literature. So we are done with the elementary and junior high school. Now we are going to proceed to the K-12 English literature competencies for senior high school. It is stated that in the draft curriculum for senior high school, there are two subjects explicitly focused on literature and not on language, and they can be taught in any language. In the second semester of grade 11, a course called Contemporary Regional Philippine Literature has been proposed, which would focus on critical discussion and appreciation of literary text originally written and or published in the 21st century in the region where the school is located. The course is derived from the current college course called Literatures of the Philippines. In the first semester of grade 12, a similar course called Contemporary World Literature has been proposed, which would focus on the study of international literary text originally written and or published during the 21st century. This course is derived from the current college course called Literatures of the World. So these are the two subjects explicitly focused on literature and not on language. The first one is Contemporary Regional Philippine Literature, and the second one is Contemporary World Literature. The first one is for grade 11 and the second is for grade 12. Question: why is literature being given much more attention now than in the past? Simply because literature has proven its worth in preparing what DepEd calls the holistically developed Filipino with 21st century skills. The Department of Education, or the DepEd, breaks down this overall outcome of basic education into four verifiable types of skills. The first one is information, media, and technology skills. The second one is learning and innovation skills. Third, life and career skills. And the fourth one is the effective communication skills. Now, literature is a major factor in achieving these four skills. But the question is, how? Film and television shows, for example, which are major forms of media, all use literary techniques such as narrative, character, and theme. Newspapers also use narrative, particularly in feature articles and continuing news stories. Now let us proceed to the importance of literature in language teaching. As stated in the K-12 Basic Education Curriculum Framework, the ultimate goal of language teaching is to develop the communicative competence of learners. So, if educators are proficient in unpacking literature competencies into learning targets or objectives, the pathway to acquiring communicative competence becomes evident to both educators and learners. Another one is when educators unpack these literature competencies, they gain confidence in choosing the literature or literary text that are fundamental to the learning process of the learners. So, to conclude, yes, it is evident that literature is given its proper place in the new curriculum in the education of the Filipino learners.